Steve Clarke lately has been ticking no boxes for Fog Football with the job he's doing as Scotland manager, but one man that ticks the box, in fact he ticks all the boxes for Scott Brown, that is Callum Mcgregor, and the former Celtic man wants the current Celtic captain to return to the Scotland international team, as he would describe that as a perfect scenario. Welcome back, guys, to Fog Football. Callum Mcgregor may be retired. He walked away from Scotland. Scott Brown, he wants him to walk 500 miles back into the Scotland setup because he believes Callum Mcgregor is the perfect man to take Scotland to the World Cup.
Is he bringing 500 lifeboats? Because with the amount of tears that the guys showed at the Scottish Cup final, we might need them. But before we even dive into Scott Brown's comments, I just don't think Callum Mcgregor is the dream. I think the dream for Scotland right now is to get rid of Steve Clarke and bring somebody in, right? Or, I mean, see if Callum McGregor's the dream, right? I get it. That's realistic because he just retired like this time last year for international duty. But wouldn't the dream be to be like, oh, I don't know, get Ali McCoist in up front, get Souness in, get Kenny Dalglish in, somebody up front who can bang in fucking go. But no, Callum McGregor's where we draw. I know, oh, he just retired last year, but it's the one position in the team that doesn't really need him.
I tell you what, I think current Ali McCoist could score against Liechtenstein.
Aye, they all could.
I mean, that's the kind of level that we were dealing with there in that last friendly game. Look, I get it. I mean, Scott Brown, Callum McGregor can still play. If Callum McGregor wanted to return, he could still play at a good level. I'm not talking here like he's been gone for a while. But I mean, at international, has Callum McGregor lost a step in the last, year since he walked away from Scotland? I'm not too sure, has he? Probably not.
No. What I would say is, I'd rather McGregor in than McLean.
Yeah, look, I agree. I think that McGregor's certainly good enough to be in Scotland squads. But I think the time for McGregor being a starter for Scotland is actually gone. I look at the young talent that we're bringing through. I'm just not sure that we need McGregor in there. I think McGregor... Listen, if he stuck around for a few more years, I think it would have been good. I wouldn't have complained. But I think that McGregor now is... To me, he's not a starting 11 player for Scotland. I just look at the midfield that we have. And he'd be a good option to have to come on, but even Celtic fans would say that he's not really a substitute style player, is he?
No.
You always hear how he controls games. To me, Cal McGregor's not really the kind of player you're bringing on if you need a goal or if you're trying to win a match late on. I just don't really see Cal McGregor as the guy that's going to come on and be a match winner. But I mean, if he was in the squad, then fair enough, but to me, I'm looking at the options that we have: McTominay, McGinn, Gilmore, Miller, Ferguson. I think that we're strong enough in the midfield without needing to bring Callum McGregor back. But
I think with Callum McGregor, though, he looked after the Euros and went, I'm probably not going to make it to the World Cup because the squad is getting better. I'll get 2 years older. It's better to respectively bow out now than, overstay my welcome.
What do you mean by not make it to the World Cup? Do you mean like he wouldn't make it in the squad or Scotland wouldn't make it?
I think he wouldn't make it.
You don't think Callum McGregor gets selected in a 6-man squad?
No, but what you got to bear in mind is I'm looking back to last year, summer 24. Maybe he thinks, well, I'm going to get worse in the next 2 years, and there's a good chance with Lennon Miller getting 2 more years under his belt, Lewis Ferguson, guys like that, and other people who could emerge, he might not be getting there. Now, maybe he did back himself. Maybe it's just the case he is getting older and he wanted to just choose Celtic over Scotland, which is fair enough.
I don't agree with that. I think Callum McGregor would still be in a Scotland squad for the World Cup if we qualify. I just don't think he starts anymore. But I think he still gets picked.
Yeah, but maybe he thought that I might not, so I'll reel it in.
I think you need to reel it in. I think it was more a case that he just wanted to prolong his club career.
No, listen to me,
if
right?
that is the case, then fair enough.
See if Kenny McLean's getting picked. Callum McGregor should be getting picked in front of him, right? But maybe I'm saying Callum McGregor thought that him and McLean and Armstrong by the time the 26th World Cup are out, I'll be in that category. I don't really want to get kicked out. I want to go at my own terms, which is fair enough.
All right, the only problem is like, I mean, we've called for McLean and Armstrong to stop getting picked. I don't feel like I've ever said Callum McGregor shouldn't be getting picked for Scotland. I've never said that. I don't think he's in the same category as those guys. I don't think he should be starting for Scotland. But I'm certainly not going to sit here and go, why is he picking Callum McGregor? That's a waste of a slot.
Yeah, but he is one of the aging midfielders, or was one of the aging midfielders, because he's no longer. Well, he's no longer put himself in there. But
anyway, look, we've seen Lennon Miller have a good game against Liechtenstein, and this is what Scott Brown had to say regarding the Scotland midfield and the fact that he wants Callum McGregor to come back. He said, quote, "On his first Scotland start, I think Miller has done himself absolutely millions of favours with his performance. He is very, very calm, quite chilled actually. That's due to his family, his dad, former Scotland striker Lee, keeping him grounded. His composure and quality is top notch. He expresses himself in the game. It is like he is not bothered by being on the big stage. His attitude is, I'm playing with my mates here. That's the top mentality. Do I think he will start in Denmark? I don't. But will he be one of the ones that, in Clark's mind, to automatically come on if you're looking for a goal or a forward pass? I'd say so. There are so many possibilities, though. The pairing of Billy Gilmour and Scott McTominay is the one that's got to flourish. You know what you're getting with John McGinn. Clark likes Kenny McLean because of his experience. Ryan Christie is favoured as a number 10 too. So there are plenty of legs in there. But the perfect scenario is to get Callum McGregor back. He is the one that ticks all the boxes. He can sit. He can go forward. I know he is retired. But that is what Scotland are looking for. End of quote. So Scott Brown saying what Scotland are looking for is Callum McGregor. He's the one that ticks all the boxes. Basically saying that the other players in the Scotland setup do not. I think that Scott McTominay is a more all-rounded player than Callum McGregor, to be honest. I mean, I think Scott McTominay has proven over the last 3 years that he's a major threat going forward. I've never thought Callum McGregor was a major threat going forward. Even when you look at Celtic games, I think if you look at the Celtic midfield, to me, he's out of all of them. I mean, out of McGregor, McCowan, Bernardo, Engels, Hatate, he is the least player that I see getting an assist or playing at that like a defence cut and pass or scoring a goal.
Yeah, I think this season was his most prolific. I think it was 8 goals, 3 assists for McGregor. But you're right. I mean, McTominay, McGinn, I'd expect those two to do more going forward. Gilmour, probably about the same. Not much in it. Ferguson, I was expecting more.
He didn't mention Ferguson.
No, he didn't mention Ferguson. But, I mean, if you just take those 5 names, right? For me, Gilmour, McTominay, McGinn are all better than McGregor. I would put Ferguson above McGregor. And as for Lennon Miller, he will be better than McGregor, just not right now. So when you look at it like that, you're talking about 5 midfielders in the same position that are better and would probably start over him. Would Steve Clark start Lennon Miller over McGregor? No, I don't think he would, right? But I think over the course of a Callum this year, for example, to the World Cup, he could definitely get in front of McGregor, and that could create problems if he was still in the squad. If Lennon Miller moved to Celtic,
I just don't view McGregor as this great attacking player going forward. I mean, I think he's better defensively. I think he's better at holding the ball and controlling games.
And also, there's been comments from Celtic fans that McGregor, his performances had dropped off in the last couple of months of the season. They did. Honestly, Callum McGregor started that last season was brilliant. But he did look a lot. I mean, there was people after that cup final calling for him to go.
Listen,
now, obviously that was reactionary, but there's still more calling for it.
I just look at the Scotland midfield, and if I'm thinking of one player to pick the ball up for the midfield and drive forward that I think is going to be a threat, Callum McGregor's pretty low in that order.
I think it's extreme for Scott Brown to say the perfect scenarios to get Callum McGregor, but the perfect scenario.
I'd say Callum McGregor's probably a bit more similar to Billy Gilmour. But in terms of going forward and being a threat, I mean, I'd much rather see a Scott McTominay or a John McGinn or a Lewis Ferguson or even a Lennon Miller.
No, I agree.
Or a Christie,
It's not like when Brown came out.
I refuse to believe that Scott Brown believes that all the other Scotland players have strengths here and maybe negatives there, but Callum McGregor's the only all-round one that ticks all the boxes. I think that's bullshit, man.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. And would he say this if Callum McGregor was a Rangers man? I'm not convinced.
Well, he says he is the one that ticks all the boxes, which is insinuating that the others don't tick all the boxes.
Yeah, I mean, what midfield options have we? What midfield? So let's say, how many midfielders can you pick? Six. Well, you can probably. It kind of depends on the number,
What, you
but
mean for a tournament or what?
aye, for a 26-man
I
tournament.
mean,
So
you'd be on about, you'd
no,
probably
but
take about 8, 9.
see Gilmore, McTominay, McGinn, Christie, Miller, Ferguson, McLean, and McGregor. Right, that's 8. He's ranking like 6th or 7th. I mean, the only person I would definitely take over him, well, I wouldn't take over him, is Kenny McLean. Personally, I would rather see Lennon Miller begin to get more minutes than Cal McGregor. I don't understand it, man. I will say this: I think Cal McGregor's done more in a Scotland shirt than like Lewis Ferguson has. Honestly, I think every game Lewis Ferguson's played or came off the bench, he hasn't impressed that much in a Scotland shirt. But again, I'm not going
He's
to.
not been given that much time, though.
No, he's not. But I think that's Clark as well.
I'm not going to sit here and, oh, Cal McGregor did more of Scott. Well, he's had fucking a lot more opportunities to.
No, he has. But the same, I think Lewis Ferguson's had about the same impact as a John McGinn and Robertson have had since he came in. And is that down to Clark? It might be. I think the perfect scenario is nothing to do with players. It's getting rid of the manager.
Does Steve Clark tick all the boxes?
No, he fucking does not.
Does he tick any of the boxes?
What boxes does he tick, man? Oh, he risks it all against the 6th worst team in the land. He finally starts 2 up front. It's pathetic, man. It's honestly pathetic. You know what, man? I'll go as far as saying this. I would actually say picking Simon Murray would be the perfect scenario over bringing Cal McGregor back. Top goal scorer in terms of Scotland.
If he's gonna try 2 up front in future games, then maybe that means more attacking players will get picked. But I personally don't see it. As soon as we play Denmark, he'll revert back to the 5-4-1. He ain't gonna go,
Even against Belarus, I think he's going to start 2 up top. Of course he's not, man. It'll be 5-4. 5-4-1's bogging. Absolutely bogging.
But I mean, I'm sure there is strikers out there that are looking at it and going, here, if he's playing 2 up top, then I've got a bit much bigger chance of getting picked and maybe even playing. But to me, I think Clark did that because he knew he could do anything against Liechtenstein and win.
Yeah. I mean, Cal McGregor could have started in nets, man. We would have got the job done, but perfect scenario seems a stretch to me. And are we stronger with Cal McGregor in the squad? Yes, but you can't describe it as a perfect scenario to get Cal McGregor back, man. I just refuse to believe that. I can't. We're talking about midfielders here. You know, some of the best in Serie A. John McGinn, but the perfect scenario is to bring in 32-year-old Cal McGregor. Come on.
Scott Brown, where does his allegiances lie? Looks like with Celtic.
I do lie with Celtic anyway, guys. That's us. Till next time. Peace.